Так, что-то мне там дали. О-о-о. Помогите Рейвам открыть ночной клуб, решите загадку. Настройтесь на одну волну, расскажите, разговорите ее, да? О, божечки. Так, найти криптозоолога. Мужа пролетарки. Этот клуб был сделан выстрел. Ну, мы идем определять очень активно. Карта мне нужна. Карта. То есть... где-то тут вот. Ну, вот здесь где-то. Что-то, я не знаю. Вот как-то здесь. Мы, получается, прошли качели, деревушку и уползли типа на пристани. Вот здесь домики были. Как-то так. Короче, сейчас мы походу выйдем в церковь. Побежали. Стучить зубами. Стучите, товарищи, стучите. Это вы правильно делаете, что стучите. Стучите на своих товарищей, да. А, так вот она, церковь-то есть. А вот и факт, зачем я тогда туда иду? А я туда никуда не пойду вообще-то. Подожди, или это не церковь? Похоже на церковь какую-то. Или это другое здание? Вот так, я запутался. Куда мне идти? Куда мне идти, чтобы родину найти? Вот в чем вопрос. Показатель Сент-Брюн 47. Не видны пыльные стекла, многих не хватает. Я бы сказал, что это похоже на церковь, да, в всяком случае. Это открывает алтарь. Сейчас зайдем, там сатанисты. Чувствую себя, как ты накроет тени огромного здания. То, что оно шибко огромное, но типа того. Так, а если я сюда сгоняю? Так вот я обошел. Камушек. С камушком можно. Гих. Местных я обнес знатно, конечно. Бункер какой-то. Ржавый шесть не было без фигни. Что за мир? Двигатель распался. Какой-то. Спустился куда-то в океан, кто знает куда. Вышка почти недавно, все еще пахнет мазутом. Так, плюс к риторике, минус к эмпатии. Белая рубашка пола и рубли. Окей. Все. Так, вот, кстати, еще одна из этих ловушек криптозоолога. Потом на обратном пути мы ее проверим. Сигаретные бычки, замеченные под камень. Мне кажется важным. Возможно, это оставила подруга вот эта вот. Даже костер, может, она сбросилась в воду нафиг. Жаль, словно пульт управления радиовышкой. Что такое? Опять мысль? Движением с трудом управляет, да? Что это? Надушенный шаров. Плюс к трепету, минус 2 к грубой силе. Так, и все. Окей, тогда. Ладно, возвращаемся к бункерку. Пробуем в него ломануться сначала.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
Что это?
It's military. A service depot of some sort.
Что он
The
сказал?
washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
Сюда могли
From
стрелять?
here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
Это красная, кстати говоря, проверка. Техника 4. У нас просто навыков не хватит, чтобы ее вскрыть. Ладно, тогда. Так, через кусты-то можно проломиться? Походу нельзя. Нельзя, жаль. Не очень хотелось. Так, ладно. Открывайте. Полиция.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood.
Изучите
The
узор.
carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch.
Так, смотрите,
This
замок.
cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow.
Ну что, на
You
книге
see a
написано?
yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead.
Видал такое раньше?
He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker.
No.
Нет?
Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency.
Так, что здесь указано на малолетних нарушителей?
For Revachol ZOC, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law.
Куно и Куна?
These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams.
Что здесь
I
делают?
haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth.
Thus, it must be made by youths.
Так, ну это каким-то юнцам. Высокие шансы. О, мне это нравится.
Heavy wooden doors, more
Давай,
than twice your
17%
height,
как бы на
stand
них не
shut
попасть.
in front of you. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb.
Так, ну, здесь там и место. Подключил наш журнал прямо на обложку. Журнал следом за последней записью, там и место. Давай там прямо журнал.
Looks like today was a gold star day.
Ладно,
The
открываем.
lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area. Its black halls and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city.
О, божечки, что же здесь такое? Мысль. Так, смотри, тем выполняет странный способ. Здесь нужно идти, а не бежать. То есть, даже при всем большом желании я не смогу бегать. Мгм. Так, поставьте 2 подписи для Еврара, чтобы Изабель... Прежде подписали документ. Как только документ будет подписан, бросьте его. Угу. Бабуля сказала, что она не будет нифига подписывать, потому что Еврар жирный фашист. Вот и все. Такова была аргументация. Ну как, не фашист прямо, а правого толка он. Так. Фигуры пытаешься стать единым целым. Сделай нас единым, Айзек! Как бы сейчас не началось опять вот это вот все. Я уже все это проходил.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore.
Курага, го организуем культ.
Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent.
Кажется, я что-то слышу.
And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual.
Действительно.
You can hardly hear your own breathing.
Топнуть ногой, хлопнуть в ладоши.
You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total.
Опять.
Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers.
Что происходит?
The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Почти ничего, и меня это начинает пугать.
The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Ну, я вижу, что здесь куча проводов каких-то протянуто.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is.
Что бы это ни было, это взаправду вокруг происходит нечто
The
странное.
lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him tense up next to you.
Ну и что я там
The
вижу?
orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
Так. А если не хочу знать, что
The
это?
silence, the darkness, they've enveloped you as in a cocoon. You cannot move anymore.
Это красная проверка, кстати говоря. То есть она доступна всего лишь один раз. Ладно. И мы видим. И сейчас этот скример появляется. Какой-нибудь некромов. Николь. Неплохо.
It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows.
На потолке?
Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely
Вот
far
это уже
away.
интересно. Проследить за
It's
движением.
not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Сейчас крыса просто вылезет.
Officer, is there something up there?
Угу.
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go?
Моргнуть. Ох, ни хрена себе.
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
Молодой человек, я бы хотел, чтобы вы спустились и прекратили вести себя так. Сейчас забыл молодой. А, это... Проводка. Понятно. Стоял ты молитвенник. Ох, вот это стрём начинается, ребят. Какая-то паранормальщина. Так, чел. Сюда.
The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently.
Это полиция,
The
выходите.
man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry. Everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
Чё?
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in general. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol.
Куда
Here you
нужно?
can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality.
Да, я как бы согласен с
Hey,
Лёхой.
what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Так что пусть идет лесом. Да, пока у меня с этим действительно есть небольшая проблема. Так, я полицейский, я хочу задать тебе несколько вопросов.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here.
Так, мне представляется, что это белые и очень печальные. Мне нравится, куда идет этот разговор. Так. Не, у меня все в порядке, спасибо.
I know it's hard to admit that you got a problem. I was like you once. Couldn't take an honest look into my own heart and see I was in pain.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Look at these crazies. What is this shit?
Действительно, долбоёб какие-то. Мне очень кажется, что в этом ты прав, вроде галстук. Ты кем себя возомнил? Ты же просто псих под крышей, что за хрень? Так, это глупо. Я даже не знаю, о чем ты. Я, конечно... Это все, конечно же, хорошо, но я бы хотел говорить о самовольном захвате церковной собственности. Так. Кем ты себя
It doesn't
возомнил?
matter who I am, Way. I'm just bringing you the message of the mother's love. She don't want you to hang yourself on your own stubbornness. This is the church of the mother of silence. You are welcome here.
Ну,
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game?
так. Ты что, спустился из-под
Sure
купола?
did, Holmes.
Дружище. Ты человек, по твоим повадкам не скажешь.
I am. At least in part, Holmes. Into the mother's love burns away the cruel distinctions of the body.
Ты не похож на
Haven't
местного.
you ever met a Mex before? Cabrón. Surprising number of us around Rabbit Shop.
Это хорошо.
Not sure I'm contributing to the economy none, Holmes.
Мгм. Ты
A
боядейра.
boyadero? No, Holmes. I don't go in for that kind of thing. It's all about surrendering to the mother now.
Ну ладно.
Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First-timers are always nervous.
Так, у меня есть ощущение, что жить под потолком церкви это не то что законно.
Oh man, I would love to see that statue. I'm sure I'd be trespassing if the church was in use. But it's not, hombre. I done my share of illegal shit. Used to be in a gang, the whole deal. But even memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone.
Мгм. То есть ты был бандитом, даже этого не помнишь. Удобно.
Convenience has got nothing to do with what goes on up there.
There's a profound longing in that gaze, like he wants to be one with whatever is up there, shrouded in darkness.
Скажи, я унылое говно.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore.
Меня зовут Гарье Дюбуа, и мое место в мире лейтенант дважды ефрейтор.
That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters.
Такс. Рейверы хотят превратить это место в ночной
The
клуб.
ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Think they scared of me.
А им стоит?
Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway.
А, ну и так что ты думаешь по поводу клуба?
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
Такс. А ты-то сам
This
представляешь,
is
что
a
здесь
special
делаешь?
place. There's a perforation in the world up there. A way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
Так, что за матерь тишины?
Oh, that's no simple question, I said. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes,
Ну и что
and
ты
no one ever will.
произойдет, когда ты припадешь к проколу?
I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
Такс. Может, ты просто заменяешь один наркотик другим?
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Так, ну что мы придерживаемся разных взглядов с моей стороны. Просто разные
I
взгляды.
know it will take time. Don't sweat it.
Так, но я по-прежнему не
I
понимаю,
know it will take time.
что ты
Don't
здесь
sweat it.
делаешь.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory.
М. На кой смысл петь ей песни, если она матерь тишины?
I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes. That's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound.
Как ты вообще нашел это место?
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, way. It didn't belong to me.
Ладно, у меня есть еще
The
пару
sinewy
вопросов.
figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Так, ты здесь давно, не знаешь, почему это церковь заброшена?
Police raid a while back.
О,
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
Знаешь, здесь сейчас другой жутик.
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Their eater is Grandma?
Так, погоди. То есть действительно живет еще кто-то?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
Wait, what if it's Ruby?
Вот у меня тоже мысль.
Did it ever seem to you like she was hiding here from something?
You mean like a fugitive?
Да.
No, man. Quite the opposite. I don't think she cared much about authority or anything else for that matter.
I see. And where is she now?
I told you, Holmes. I don't know.
Как же ты можешь не знать, вы же оба живете тут.
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
Ты можешь мне еще что-нибудь про нее сказать?
I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or...
Или?
Or search through her radio computer.
Ну ладно. Да, Курага. Да, ну это, конечно, это что-то с чем-то. Это просто новый уровень уже из брата, мне кажется. Так, ну здесь есть чей-то шмот, судя по видимому. Шелковый шарф мискийского гангстера. Левый порог добавляет. Снег тут нарисовал оленя. Он раскрасил стекло цветами, теперь ничего не видно. Окей, ладно. Стеклянная панель. Паук опутал деревянную. Понятно. Так, чьи-то ботиночки. Красные башмаки. Плюс эмпатии. Я. Вот на этом компьютере она работает. Уважаемый. Нифига не уважаемый. С заполненными сложными уравнениями. Что написано недавно? Телефон. Две кнопки крутятся в холостую. Портативный магнитофон. Может быть, он что-то записывает? Включил внешний источник энергии к этой антенне. Так, стоит комп. Окей. Машина. Поговори со мной.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
Да.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
Так, да, но эта машина похожа на ту, что была в проклятой табло.
It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
То, что он ржавый, это не значит, что с ним надо прямо обращаться аккуратно.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim
Интересно,
printer.
если... Мы же, по-моему, забирали куб памяти. Если мы его сюда воткнем.
The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits.
Так, дай
You
разобраться.
see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is why the lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed.
Так,
Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater.
Так,
The
допустим.
speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Так, Ивонна, это снова я.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
Так, да, получается.
Good. Please repeat the password.
А пароль-то у нас
Let's
нет.
look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
Пароль. Я не знаю пароль.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Forces Accident, как та компания в проклятой торговой зоне?
I have two machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brune, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brune. That's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghilaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Да.
Anything else I can help you
Нет,
with?
спасибо, у меня все.
Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons.
Интересно, а если я нажму печать?
Nothing happens.
Ну и не надо. Так, мужичок, насчет пароля. Ты слышал что-нибудь насчет пароля?
Oh, hey, Wade. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love.
Чай, кофе, капучино, любовь матери. Так, ты случайно не слышал, чтобы Вьетта называла радиокомпьютеру пароль?
Too many times, essay. You need it for something.
Да, это необходимо для расследования.
Don't sweat it, Vato. The password is afterlife death.
That is true. But what comes after death?
What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita Pequeña when I hear it.
Звучит
I think
достаточно...
we're done here, essay.
Звучит достаточно жутко. Я
That was
ускорился.
an interesting conversation.
Да.
However, I'm still not sure whether we'll find our...
Может быть, мы и не найдем. Но у нас появились зацепки. Так. Еще мы можем... Тут, очевидно, дыра. Может, нам можно пройти в нее? Сейчас посмотрим.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. A dark and radiant majesty.
Что это она? Легкие показывает? Ну, рентген легких хороший, чистый, да.
This is her innocence, Dolores Day.
А,
Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
на колени? Окей.
Your knees touch the floor.
Опа.
The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass.
Так, закрыть
The
глаза.
world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you, it covers you from the wind outside.
Я уверовал?
The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. In the darkness, you sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with their multicolored glass, as if you're a bug under a microscope.
Открыть глаза.
The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips, and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse?
Наверное, сожаление.
As that useless word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Это
Your
не вариант.
fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
Это Долорис Дей.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Delorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records.
Тебе известно об этом
It's a
месте?
minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first...
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
Что-нибудь еще знаешь об этом?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find the instigator here. Something else, perhaps?
A pang of guilt. The lieutenant is leaving something out.
Так. Знаешь, почему это место
I have a
страшно?
theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces.
Да, это объясняет вот эту вот дырень.
The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Кто организовал?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
Ты не уверен.
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
Я, может, и бывал здесь.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it, why it was conducted or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
Если я действительно здесь раньше был, я должен знать, что я здесь делал.
Good luck.
Удачи.
You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It
Может
happened a
быть.
while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Тут белые проверки 2 с высокими шансами. Это очень заманчиво.
The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men.
Стоп, откуда я вообще знаю, что такое светоч?
The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit.
Правитель?
More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office.
А сейчас у нас есть светоч?
No, we are alone.
Ясно, и когда она правила?
300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-esolary travel, and the connected world.
Что мне еще про нее известно?
Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Serene, modern-day Sir Laclais. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed.
И откуда такая
The
печаль?
past is a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away.
Да, не стоит.
Exactly.
волноваться.
Back out of this corner of your mind by choosing the bottommost option. To hell with this.
Так, а если я хочу еще?
As did we all. The lands of the Mess and the Occident, and even far away Supramawindi. Altogether, 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning.
Коронация.
In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt.
Она должна быть красивой.
Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen.
И что потом?
One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else.
Что?
Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology.
И было ли в ней что-нибудь пугающего?
Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. Terrifying. It's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her.
Нет, было ли в ней что-нибудь плохое, я хочу
You
узнать.
already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
И что произошло?
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
Может спросить, чем вы занимаетесь? Она как-то связана с этим делом. Сидящаяся легкий хрень какая-то? Да ни о чем, просто осматриваюсь. Она прекрасна.
That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
Ну, вообще, да, но... У нас
The
есть еще одна
mother of
проверка.
humanism stands above you. The shards glimmer in the dark. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text. A light motif below them both.
Почему эта мозаика разбилась?
Unknown.
Неизвестно.
Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned. Or just hooligans looking for something to break.
Кто эта женщина постарше?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
Девиз, что там написано?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Ну и что, мне теперь открывать Google переводчик, что ли, чтобы понять, что тут написано?
After life,
Ah.
death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Летёха.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Так, какой сейчас орган?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
Так, уже не так женственно, как скажешь. Так, несторый вариант больше нравился. Мне нравится, пусть эти пидоры не забывают, что Бога бояться надо. Несторый вариант больше нравился.
So do I.
Ну вот...
The
мы
mother
сходимся
of
друг с другом.
humanism towers up.
Что ж, мы изучили. Ну пошли попытаем компьютер еще раз. Мало ли что нам теперь скажет.
The machine, the speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic.
Good afternoon. Fortress
Насчет
accident.
пароля.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Так.
Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Ага.
Fortress accident. Is there
Нет,
anything?
нет, спасибо.
Goodbye. Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons.
Так, нажать
The
печать.
printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal.
Читаем.
The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary. but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
Ты думаешь, этот журнал может быть связан со Шмидтом?
Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
Дальше.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving.
Да она в Бога не уверила просто-напросто, вот и все.
What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be interesting.
Так, электрохимия.
7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Ну, зачем мне
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna. Had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers.
Сулислав? Знакомое имя.
But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked.
Да, факт.
I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Так, потеря данных.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading.
Художники, программисты, лексик. Кто все эти люди?
I think these people worked in the radio computer games business. The one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
Дальше.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder.
Действительно.
Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
А вот теперь тебе интересно. Прочитай шестую запись.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the Swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence. Or
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
Ну, что это тогда быть?
the lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples.
8-я запись.
March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good. I don't want anyone distracting me from my work.
Наверное, она имеет в виду осель.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse.
А, это
How
про меня.
Martinez of her.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with that machine.
Ой.
No. It was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things
Это
about
получается
machines.
вчера была запись.
March
10-е.
51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping pong energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. Interrupted by the sound of the church door opening.
Не понял.
A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Упс. Здрасте, мадама. Мы это, не подумайте ничего плохого. То есть нормально, да? Не здрасте, не до свидания, просто подошла и начала печатать. Прога.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
Ну,
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
так, мы ищем подозреваемых.
No one's hiding here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her. After she...